When a healthy INFJ meets an unhealthy INFJ, this will occur. The INFJ personality type is known for its deep empathy, introspective nature, and a unique desire to help and understand others. However, not all INFJs are the same. Just like any other personality type, INFJs exist on a spectrum of mental health and personal development. Today, we'll explore what happens when a healthy INFJ meets an unhealthy INFJ. We'll look at key differences between a balanced, emotionally healthy INFJ and one who may be struggling, what causes these differences, and how these dynamics play out in their interactions. To understand what happens when a healthy INFJ meets an unhealthy INFJ, it's crucial to first define what we mean by healthy and unhealthy within the INFJ personality type. Characteristics of a healthy INFJ. A healthy INFJ embodies self-awareness, emotional stability, and a balanced approach to life. They have honed their strengths, such as empathy, intuition, and a deep desire to help others, without losing themselves. These INFJs are also confident in setting boundaries and practicing self-care. Meet Emma, a healthy INFJ who has cultivated self-acceptance and balance in her life. She has close, meaningful relationships and knows when to step back to avoid emotional burnout. Emma values harmony, but she's learned to express her own needs and emotions clearly. Characteristics of an unhealthy INFJ. An unhealthy INFJ, on the other hand, may struggle with self-doubt, low self-esteem, and emotional volatility. Often, their desire to help others becomes imbalanced, leading to codependent or people-pleasing behaviors. Unhealthy INFJs can become consumed by their idealism, feel misunderstood, or even display passive-aggressive tendencies when they struggle to express their needs. Now meet Jake, an unhealthy INFJ who feels lost and misunderstood. He's overly focused on helping others to the point of neglecting his own needs. Jake frequently feels emotionally exhausted and doesn't have strong boundaries, leading to feelings of resentment. Here is why a healthy and unhealthy INFJ might meet. People with the INFJ personality type often feel a connection to others who share their personality type, whether through work, friendships, or shared social circles. Healthy and unhealthy INFJs may find themselves drawn to each other, sensing a deep, intuitive connection. This meeting can be transformative, as a healthy INFJ may offer perspective to an unhealthy one, while the unhealthy INFJ may trigger self-reflection in the healthy one. When a healthy INFJ meets an unhealthy INFJ, the differences in their energy, mindset, and overall approach to life can become evident. Here's how the initial interaction might unfold. Healthy INFJ's openness versus unhealthy INFJ's guardedness. The healthy INFJ, like Emma, likely approaches others with an open heart, making eye contact, and expressing empathy without reservation. The unhealthy INFJ, like Jake, however, may seem guarded, distrustful, or overly intense in sharing their struggles. This disparity can create a subtle tension. When Emma meets Jake, she senses his need for connection but also detects a subtle defensiveness. Emma listens patiently as Jake shares his frustrations with others who don't get him, but she notices his negativity. Emma maintains a balanced demeanor, carefully listening without taking on his emotional weight. Balanced empathy versus overwhelming neediness. The healthy INFJ expresses empathy but knows when to draw the line to protect their emotional well-being. An unhealthy INFJ, however, may lean heavily on the healthy INFJ's kindness, sometimes without realizing it. Jake, feeling understood by Emma, might start sharing his struggles excessively, hoping for validation. Emma, sensing Jake's emotional neediness, acknowledges his feelings but subtly redirects the conversation to keep the balance, trying not to become overwhelmed by his emotional intensity. As they interact more, certain patterns may emerge, revealing the friction that can arise when a healthy INFJ meets an unhealthy one. Idealism versus realism conflict. Healthy INFJs often find a balance between their idealism and practicality. In contrast, unhealthy INFJs may be more idealistic, even to a fault, and can reject the reality check offered by their healthier counterpart. Jake mentions his desire to fix his friends' problems, expecting them to respond to his advice. Emma gently suggests focusing on his own needs first, but Jake dismisses her suggestion, believing that if others changed, he would feel more fulfilled. Emma realizes Jake's idealism might be a way to avoid addressing his own emotional needs. Boundary setting and reactions. A healthy INFJ is often skilled at setting boundaries, while an unhealthy INFJ might struggle with boundaries and feel hurt when someone sets them. When Jake calls Emma late at night to vent, she responds kindly but sets a boundary, explaining that she values their friendship but needs to rest. Jake might interpret this as a rejection, feeling as if Emma doesn't truly understand or support him. This response can lead to tension, as Emma tries to maintain her boundaries while Jake feels disappointed. Emotional absorption versus emotional detachment. Healthy INFJs have learned to detach from emotions when needed, whereas unhealthy INFJs can get swept up in them, sometimes projecting their issues onto others. Emma notices that Jake tends to view others' emotions as a reflection of his own worth. When Emma expresses her own feelings, Jake internalizes them, making assumptions that her emotions are directed at him, which causes misunderstandings. Though the interactions between a healthy and unhealthy INFJ can be challenging, they also offer potential growth opportunities for both. Here's what each can gain and the obstacles they might face. The healthy INFJ as a model for emotional balance. When a healthy INFJ models balance, self-care, and assertive communication, the unhealthy INFJ may begin to see new ways of handling their emotions. This modeling can inspire positive change, though the shift is often subtle and requires time. As Emma continues setting healthy boundaries and openly expressing her needs, Jake observes her approach. Although he initially resents her boundaries, over time he begins to understand the importance of protecting his own energy too. Challenges of emotional projection and idealism. Unhealthy INFJs often project their unmet needs onto others, which can strain the relationship. They may idealize the healthy INFJ, expecting them to provide constant validation. Jake starts to view Emma as his confidant and support system, expecting her to always be there for him. However, when Emma explains that she can't always fulfill that role, Jake feels let down, failing to recognize the difference between healthy support and codependency. A mirror effect for both INFJs. Interacting with an unhealthy INFJ can remind a healthy INFJ of their own growth journey and the pitfalls they've overcome. At the same time, the unhealthy INFJ may see their potential reflected back through the healthier INFJ. Emma recalls times in her life when she felt lost, anxious, and overly focused on helping others, recognizing elements of her past self in Jake. Meanwhile, Jake begins to see qualities in Emma, self-respect, calmness, and balance, that he hopes to develop. Over time, the relationship between a healthy and an unhealthy INFJ may deepen, evolve, or even come to an end. Here's how these dynamics can develop. Transformation through patience and compassion. If the healthy INFJ is patient and compassionate, and the unhealthy INFJ is willing to grow, the relationship can become transformative. The healthy INFJ may serve as a grounding presence, while the unhealthy INFJ gradually learns healthier coping strategies. Emma continues to show compassion to Jake, encouraging him gently to explore self-care practices like journaling or therapy. Jake begins to make small changes, learning to process his emotions in healthier ways, which eases the tension between them. Potential for unhealthy patterns to dominate. However, if the unhealthy INFJ remains unwilling to address their struggles, the relationship may become one-sided. The healthy INFJ may feel drained and eventually distance themselves to protect their own well-being. Jake remains reliant on Emma, not showing interest in personal growth or reciprocating her support. Emma, feeling emotionally taxed and sensing a lack of balance, decides to limit her time with Jake to protect her own energy. Healthy detachment and respectful boundaries. With time, a healthy INFJ may become more detached, allowing the unhealthy INFJ space to grow on their own. This respectful detachment can foster a healthier, more balanced dynamic. Emma continues to support Jake but no longer takes responsibility for his emotional well-being. This shift allows Jake to seek self-fulfillment rather than relying solely on Emma's guidance. When a healthy INFJ meets an unhealthy INFJ, it can be a powerful interaction that reveals the importance of personal growth, boundaries, and emotional self-awareness. A healthy INFJ can model the balance, empathy, and strength needed to thrive, while an unhealthy INFJ has the opportunity to reflect and grow. Ultimately, the path forward depends on each INFJ's willingness to engage in self-discovery and take responsibility for their own emotional health. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Type yes in the comments if you've encountered similar dynamics in your relationships.